If you've missed the most recent fireworks from The View, then you're missing a performance that feels less like a political talk show and more like an unintended comedy special. Picture this: Whoopi Goldberg, fiery as ever, passionately urging a boycott of Elon Musk's platform, X, while conveniently glossing over the uncomfortable reality that her own show's future is tied up with Disney. The same Disney that's locked in a tense standoff with Musk. Every word Whoopi delivers comes across like a spontaneous decree, but the irony is so thick you could cut it with a knife. With each statement, she's not just voicing an opinion, she's edging closer to undermining her own platform's survival. And as you watch the sparks fly, it becomes clear this isn't just talk show banter. It's the slow burn of Whoopi accidentally putting her own show in jeopardy.
He's apparently the richest man in the world. His name is Elon Musk, and he's proving that money does not always seem to buy happiness because apparently he lost it during an interview at a leadership summit when asked about advertisers fleeing his website X over his response to anti-Semitic posts.
At the center of this storm stands Elon Musk, the man who seems to live under a spotlight he both craves and resents. Musk may be the richest man alive, but wealth doesn't seem to shield him from controversy. In fact, sometimes it seems to magnify it. During a high-profile leadership summit, Musk was confronted about advertisers abandoning X after he endorsed a post tied to the infamous Great Replacement theory, an idea embraced by extremist corners of the internet. The reaction was swift. Apple, IBM, Warner Brothers, and Disney all fled the platform. And while the backlash rattled the foundations of X, Musk's response was anything but cautious. His words, sharp and defiant, carried the weight of both a warning and a promise. If somebody's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money, go F yourself, he declared in a moment that instantly ricocheted across headlines.
If somebody's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money, go f*** yourself. But go f*** yourself. Is that clear?
He doubled down, insisting that if boycotts led to the downfall of X, the world would know exactly who was responsible, and he would document it every step of the way. Those words weren't just a flare-up of emotion. They were a clear sign that Musk was ready to frame this as a battlefield of legal and public opinion, a fight where he wouldn't go quietly.
Actually, what this advertising boycott is going to do, it's going to kill the company. And the whole world will know that those advertisers killed the company, and we will document it in great detail.
Yet, the irony that Whoopi Goldberg spotted in all this was undeniable. Watching Musk, a man with unimaginable wealth, lose his composure under pressure, she quipped about how money can't buy peace of mind, nor can it shield someone from the fallout of their own choices. To her, Musk's meltdown was proof that even billions don't spare anyone from the heat of the spotlight. But what Whoopi seemed to miss is that Musk wasn't just flailing. He was laying the groundwork for a fight much larger than one interview could capture. Let's rewind for a moment. The entire firestorm began with Musk's decision to endorse that replacement theory tweet. Within hours, advertisers stampeded out. Disney, under the leadership of Bob Iger, was one of the most prominent names in that exodus. The irony? Musk later admitted that the tweet was one of the dumbest things he had ever written, no small confession from a man with over 30,000 tweets to his name. "It might be literally the worst and dumbest post I've ever done," he said, a rare flash of humility amid the chaos. But by then, the damage was already done.
I'm sorry for that tweet or post. It was foolish of me. Of the 30,000, it might be literally the worst and dumbest post that I've ever done.
Now, imagine the stakes. X has been teetering financially since Musk's $44 billion purchase, its stability constantly under scrutiny. With major advertisers gone, bankruptcy looms like a storm cloud. And Musk, never one to retreat, hinted at legal retribution. If he chose to sue Disney for leading an organized boycott, the ripple effects could be devastating. Disney, already weakened by years of missteps and declining public trust, might find itself in the courtroom against a man with both the resources and the will to fight until the bitter end. And tied to Disney's fate? ABC, the very network that hosts The View. Suddenly, Whoopi's boycott rhetoric feels less like righteous indignation and more like an accidental death wish for her own show. Disney's decline has been anything but subtle. Over the last 2 years, its stock has cratered nearly 40%. A market cap that once stood tall at $267 billion has shriveled to $169 billion. Audiences are tuning out of once-beloved franchises, tired of endless reboots and remakes. For a company that once seemed invincible, the cracks are showing everywhere. If Musk follows through with his threats, Disney could be pushed further into crisis, and ABC, along with The View, may be dragged down in the wreckage. But that hasn't stopped voices like Sarah Haynes from chiming in on The View. She framed the advertiser exodus as an act of conscience, a reflection of modern consumer power. People, she argued, now use their dollars to amplify their beliefs, whether to support a cause they value or to push back against something they oppose.
When he said that the advertisers would be responsible for killing the company, he's kind of disassociating with what caused the advertisers to step away.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is, he knows as a businessman that companies are responsible to not only their employees, but their consumers. And we live in a time of conscientious consumerism when people want to put the one power they have, which is their dollar, towards something that matters, whether it's for good or against something bad.
In her view, Musk was ignoring the fact that businesses have responsibilities not just to shareholders, but to employees and customers, who increasingly demand that their money reflect their values. And yet, there's a catch. While consumer power is real, corporate power is something altogether different. When companies like Disney use advertising dollars not merely to reflect values, but to kneecap a rival, the line between ethical decision-making and strategic sabotage gets blurred. To Musk, this wasn't about values, it was about being silenced by companies that found him ideologically inconvenient. After all, he didn't just buy Twitter for fun. He framed the purchase as a mission to protect free speech. And when corporations weaponize boycotts, Musk sees it as a direct attack on that mission. This is where Whoopi Goldberg re-enters the spotlight. Her calls for boycotts may sound righteous, but they sit in sharp contrast to her own history. Not long ago, Whoopi found herself at the center of controversy for comments about Jewish people and World War II, remarks that sparked widespread outrage. She later sought forgiveness, asking for understanding and the chance to move forward. But now she appears unwilling to extend that same grace to others. It raises the question, why is forgiveness acceptable when the target is Whoopi, but not when the target is Elon Musk?
If you are not participating, it's a big statement.
Yeah.
It's a big statement. If you don't participate, then you are not complicit. You are saying this is not where I want to be.
Yeah.
So, join us who have stopped, because I don't want to be associated with it.
The contradictions deepen when you consider the mechanics of boycotts. On the surface, they seem like a simple expression of values. But in practice, they can serve as powerful corporate weapons, tools that reshape industries and silence dissent. Musk knows this well, and it's why he refuses to let boycotts define the fate of X. He argues that advertisers who pull out aren't taking a moral stand, they're just making short-sighted business decisions that could backfire. And when Whoopi urges others to join the exodus, she unwittingly aligns herself with the very tactics Musk has sworn to dismantle. So, what happens if Musk takes this fight to court? He has already hinted that if Disney and others claim boycotts didn't kill X, he will make sure every detail is documented to prove otherwise. In his words, tell it to the judge. For Musk, the judge isn't just the legal system, it's the public itself.
And I just wonder and ask you and think about that for a second.
Tell it to the judge.
But the judge is going to be...
The judge is the public.
He's banking on the idea that people will see boycotts not as noble gestures, but as a form of censorship dressed up in moral language. And if he's right, Disney could find itself facing not just legal trouble, but a public backlash it can't afford. Consider the broader implications. If Musk wins, it won't just be a victory over Disney. It will set a precedent for how far corporations can go. In using financial pressure as a weapon, it will reshape the boundaries of free speech in the digital age. And it could mark the beginning of a much larger reckoning for companies that assume they can wield money as a silencing tool.
Don't advertise.
how do you think then about the economics of X? If part of the underlying model, at least today, and maybe it needs to shift, maybe the answer is it needs to shift away from advertising.
Actually, what this advertising boycott is going to do, it's going to kill the company.
But those advertisers, I imagine, are going to say, we didn't kill the company.
Oh yeah.
They're going to say,
tell it to Earth.
But they're going to say, Elon, that you killed the company because you said these things, and that they were inappropriate things, and that they didn't feel comfortable on the platform, right? That's what they're going to say.
And let's see how Earth responds to that.
Okay, this goes back to
we'll both make our cases,
right?
And we'll see what the outcome is.
And I just wonder and ask you and think about that for a second.
Tell it to the judge.
But the judge is going to be...
the judge is the public.
Which brings us back to The View. Whoopi's fiery declarations may have seemed like a simple jab at Musk, but in the bigger picture, they carry weight. Her words are tied to the very network whose survival depends on Disney's stability. Every call for a boycott digs the hole deeper. Every laugh at Musk's expense sharpens the irony. If Disney falters, The View could go down with it. So here's the question that lingers after the laughter fades. Do companies truly have the right to use their financial power to cancel individuals and businesses they don't agree with?
I think that the public is going to say that Disney is making a mistake.
Yes.
And they're going to boycott Disney?
They already are.
Well, there are some that are for lots of different reasons, but you think that this is going to... that you have this goes to actually the interesting of power and leverage.
Let the chips fall where they may. Let the chips fall where they may.
Or is this just censorship hiding behind the mask of moral responsibility? That's the dilemma Musk is putting in front of the world. And whether you agree with him or not, the answer could reshape the future of media, business, and free speech itself. The saga of Elon Musk versus Disney, with Whoopi Goldberg playing the unwitting cheerleader, isn't just another fleeting controversy. It's a snapshot of a larger cultural battle, a clash between free expression and corporate influence. A reminder that in today's world, even the wealthiest man alive can be threatened not by governments or regulators, but by advertisers with deep pockets and a willingness to wield them like weapons. And so, as the dust settles, we're left with one undeniable truth: this fight isn't over. In fact, it may just be beginning. The only question is, whose side will the public ultimately take?